So I was going through my journal. I use a journal app called Day One, and I love it. I've been using it for years, and I will say before I get into this particular journal entry that I believe that journaling is really good for your mental health. When I started committing myself to a journal, it's something I used to do as a kid, but there was something that happened to me in my early formative years that made me feel so vulnerable and like I had no safe space. So I stopped journaling for a long time. It took me a while to heal from that. And if you go back through I think it's in my Addicted to Monster series. If not, it's in one of my videos. And when this goes on YouTube, I'll find it later. One of you may have to drop a comment to remind me. But I'll go ahead and drop a link to the video that explains what that situation was or that particular thing that happened that caused me to stop journaling as a child for a while. But I will say back around maybe 2011 or 12, I started journaling again very consistently from then till now. And it helped me to start recognizing some patterns. And it also helped me to be able to look back and see growth. So it's been a really important part of my healing journey, of my mental health journey. It's something that I do for self-care, and I would recommend that everyone do this. And it also helps you to remember things and to go back and see things as it really was too, especially when you are in that phase of life where you are divesting from people and situations and circles that are just not healthy for you. So when you start to romanticize things or maybe miss some connections, you're able to go back and actually see everything as it was so that you don't ever become disillusioned and allow yourself to be manipulated by yourself or anyone else to go backwards. So let's get into this journal entry. August 29th, 2022. I said, and this is who I was in that moment. I'm not going to say I agree or disagree with the way that I said it, but I'm just going to tell you what I said at that day. So I said, as soon as I started leaning into the hellhole of a racist state I used to live in and finding ways to enjoy and create my own success, bam, a door I wasn't even looking for opened for me to move back home to Jersey where I really wanted to be. I mean, red carpet laid out, grant money to help my kids and I move, pay and rental deposit, and purchase new furniture. Crazy, right? And I had a new band that hired me before I even moved here. And I stayed booked and busy. There's more to the story, but here's the bottom line. Manifest that ish by getting out of your own way emotionally. So on that day, I came across this meme with a quote by one of my favorites, Abraham Hicks. And the quote says, "The path to getting out of a place you don't want is to like it." And it shows a man in the middle of the road just totally floating in the water. And that image to me it just summarizes what radical acceptance is and the art of allowing. The art of allowing does not mean that you just allow yourself to succumb to circumstances or places that you feel like you've outgrown or you're not happy with or you're not fully satisfied with. But it does mean that you recognize and you accept where you are in that moment and you practice allowing yourself to feel what you need to feel there, to experience what you need to experience there, to get everything that you're supposed to be. Because in that moment, you're there. And if you're there, that means you're supposed to be there in that moment. But at the same time, prepare for that next place. That there's lots of cute little sayings. There's one that talks about kind of enjoying where you're at until you get to where you're going. So I moved to Oklahoma kicking and screaming. I am not from there. I never fit in. I never liked it, not one bit ever. Like, can you imagine being from the East Coast and then literally one day, like this is how it happened. Your parents come home and they're like, bam, we're moving to Oklahoma. Like no time to even digest it, any anything. Can you imagine the trauma? Moving there was a trauma. It was a traumatic experience. And all of the worst years of my life happened in that place. It was like going back 100 years in time. But that was a necessary part of my journey, apparently. And once I started to kind of lean into where I was at, even though I hated it, and I stopped kind of beating this drum and just repeating this stanza of I hate this godforsaken place, and it's racist and it's backwards and this and that, and I don't fit in, and I can't get, like, they don't have the certain things that I want, and I can't be a superstar here, and all these other things. And I started saying, okay, this is where I'm at. This is my life right now. This is the season I'm in. There are things I want to do with my life, and it doesn't seem likely I can do it here. However, this is where I'm at, so I'm going to do it right here. And I started taking what I had. And I had virtually nothing, like seriously. Like, I experienced the lowest, poverty of my life in that place as well. When it came to headshots, I had an iPhone. That's it. But I knew that I wanted to be on TV. When it came to music, there were a couple local bands, but I knew that I wanted to continue performing. So I tapped into whatever resources I had there, and I just started there, and I literally just started saying, you know what, this is where I'm at, so I'm going to do everything I can where I'm at. And it started to open doors for me that I didn't even know were possible. Like, I didn't even have to look for talent agencies. I started just applying for myself for castings, and I would go to one, then I would go to another, and then a producer would be like, hey, who are you with? And I'm like, nobody, I'm with me. And they're like, okay, you need to see this person, I'm going to refer you. And literally that's how I got my 2 contracts. And then the second one was for me and my children. Like, I walked in there and I didn't even have to interview. Like, I walked in and they had contracts for me and my kids to sign. It was amazing. So after I stopped telling myself what I couldn't do, and I also shut the door on people who would say, like, really sly, passive aggressive things to me, like, stop trying to be a superstar and just focus on being a mother. I had to be like, fuck those people. Like, I literally had to stop dealing with them, and I had to do it so smooth. Like, I didn't make an announcement or anything. I didn't cuss him out. I just started, just all of a sudden you looked up and I'm not taking your calls anymore. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm still cordial, if we come across each other, there was one particular relationship that was a soul tie that was so hard for me to get rid of. And when I got one of my biggest bookings, and when I started stepping to my own power, this man literally beat the brakes off of me. He beat me so bad, my memory is still affected to this day. Whatever he did to me caused me to have a broken jaw on both sides of my face. And I believe to this day that he wanted to break me because he was angry, because I was surpassing where I was, and I was also surpassing him. And one of the biggest bookings that I got as far as a commercial actor to this date, and I think that bank still has me on some of their ATMs and billboards and stuff, which is really cool. But I remember I already had an audition booked before that incident, and after I got my jaw wired shut, because this is the only way that I could feed my children, was by performing and doing these commercials and these short films. I had to go. I chose to go even with my jaw wired shut. And I went, and my agent, and they were just like, are you sure you can do this? And I said, by the time it's time to film, I said, these wires will be off. I still look good. Whoever the surgeon who stitched up my face did such a good job to this day. You would never tell that I had 9 stitches in my face. And I give all glory to God for that, and for the fact that I survived. But I had to lean in with everything that I had, and I refused to let anything take me off of my path. And I also refused to continue repeating this I don't know, this misery to myself about what I can and can't do. And more doors started opening, and the wrong doors started closing. And I knew that I needed to escape that motherfucker. I needed to escape my ex-husband, because both of them were monsters in my story. And you know, there's so many people who speak so well of them, and I'm not gonna sit here and spend so much time on that. But that part of the story, I will say, was their purpose. Like a lot of evil people, some people are blessing blockers, but I had to really lean into my faith and try my best to do everything I could to even borrow the courage to get the hell away from the both of them, because they both tried their darnest, and one of them still tries to this day to destroy everything that I am, because I'm a light. I have a light and I have a vision, and I had to hold fast to it. Eventually, you look up, and a couple years later, doors are opening. Like, I stopped focusing on it. Like, I literally gave it to God. I put it out there in the universe. The desire never left me, but I stopped saying it the same way. God, I can't wait to get out of here. I hate it here. I want to move back to Jersey. I had to change the stanza or the verse that I said to myself. And I still had that desire, but I exercised it a little differently. And you know, when you really want something, sometimes it's like you could hold it in your hand metaphysically, and you could darn near like squeeze it and kill it like a bird, rather than just opening. It's like if your hands are clenched tight, because I really want it. What you're saying is actually the opposite. You don't believe you're going to have it. You're so afraid. So then, you know, it's like you're putting that into the universe, the fear, the anxiety, versus if your hand is open and relaxed. If your hand's open, then it's open to receive. It's open to catch something. So it's like I had to start practicing this, and it was really difficult. It's hard to do this. It's hard and it's easy to do this when it's like the biggest, deepest desires of your heart. I had to stop talking to people about it. I had to stop talking to some of the girls that I thought were my girlfriends, because I noticed that whenever I would say something, several of them would find a reason why I couldn't do it, and then they would say it to me. Or I felt like whenever I would open my mouth and share with people that I loved and I thought that I could trust, it's like all of a sudden the door would close on me, and I'm like, oh, this is frustrating, because I want to celebrate with somebody, and that's still a bit of a struggle for me. But I do understand and respect, I guess, the process, and that's something I have to do, is be willing to protect it by being really private about some things. So I still had the desire, and I operated in it, but with a different vibration. And if you understand and you know, then you know, I don't have to explain it a lot more than that. And when you're ready, you just kind of get it. So a couple years later, I start getting a phone call from someone who was an old friend. She was an old foster sister, and she just kept trying to talk me into moving. And in the beginning, I wasn't ready. And then the next year, I was a little bit more ready. Then I was a little bit more ready. And when I tell you, different contacts started coming out of nowhere. I started getting referrals, and it's like it was time. I think that when you have bigger orders to the universe, maybe it takes a little longer to fulfill those orders, or at least when it comes to my life, it's kind of been like that. It's like the bigger orders, maybe it just takes some time for things to get in alignment. So I started just working where I was at. I started appreciating what I had, appreciating the gigs that I was getting on a regular basis. Really leaning into the ones that when I would go on set, I would try to learn as much as I could and network. And it's like, I think that time was developing me for the next place. And when I was ready, the doors open. And I mean, the doors open, like on the door opened for me to have a temporary place to stay. The door opened for one band to hire me before I even got on the road to move here. The door opened for, as a single mother of 4, there were some social services and stuff that I still needed. I needed some domestic violence counseling and other services and things that I just could not get in that state of Oklahoma as well, because that's kind of a poor state, and it's also a Republican state. They vote against their own their own interests so much. But that's another conversation. So I needed to be in a place that was more robust, that had more money, that had more resources, as far as self-sufficiency, tools and things like that. So it's like all these things started coming to me. So much money, so many grants, advocates, and the door just opened for everything that I needed to be in place before I even got here. And I didn't even have to try. I literally put my intentions out there and I started focusing on everything. I started leaning into where I was, and it prepared me for where I knew I wanted to go, and for where I think if it's a deep desire of your heart, then it has to be your destiny. I mean, God's not cruel. Your universe, or whatever you want to call it, that infinite being is not cruel. It's not going to allow something for you to have this huge passion, a deep-seated desire, this drive, this purpose, unless you can fulfill it. The how and everything may not always be your business. Just be committed to the vision and the dream. So that's what happened. A couple years later, even things that I didn't even know I needed, it's like there was this peace, and something told me months before I moved, and months before I even knew I was going to move, something said, change your telephone number. And I did. And when I tell you, people looked at me like I was cray-cray. The very few people that got my number that still needed to have it while I was there, I mean, like literally the bewilderment, because I did it and I did not even explain myself. I think it's important to get to this place where you make decisions and you give sentences, and you say things, and that's it, with finality, without explaining yourself. You just stand on it, and that's that. Because at the end of the day, who do you owe anything? You owe nothing to no one but yourself. So I got to that place. And over the next, I would say 5 years, it took me a while of kind of back and forth, standing in and out of my power. And there were some other tests I needed to have that really strengthened my resolve. And I really believe in this last year or two, I passed that test. That's another conversation. I would suggest you go to my YouTube and look at my video series called D is for Donkey. That experience in whole really helped me to get to this place where I stand on business 1,000%. But back to the point of this, and it's so neat that I came across this journal entry that I just shared with you, is that, let me go to the end. The bottom line, manifest that ish by getting out of your own way emotionally. Your emotions are valid, but you can use them as a guidepost. I think you can use them as sails for your ship. You can use them as tools. You can master them. That doesn't mean they have to go away, but they can be used in a certain way. The path to getting out of a place you don't want is to like it. And I hope you understand what that means. That doesn't mean you have to like every aspect of it, because there's some things that are just not enjoyable and sucky about certain things. But to look at it as a whole and say, okay, this is where I'm at. What can I enjoy about this? What can I leave? What am I supposed to get out of it? And really find all the things that you can like and love about it. And that does not mean get complacent. Absolutely not. But if you're a Bible reader, there's this scripture about learning how to be content in all things. There's a certain level of contentment and peace that I think is important for every place that you are in life, that can really help you to ascend. So that's it. Have a good night or day, wherever you're at.